Alright folks, buckle up because we're diving headfirst into the dumpster fire that is North Korean history. It's a tale filled with intrigue, power struggles, and a whole lot of what just happened moments. Let's rewind to the early 20th century when Korea was basically the prize piglet at a county fair everyone wanted to take home. This small peninsula was caught in the crosshairs of major powers, each with their own agenda. Russia wanted a piece, Japan was already eyeing it up. And China? Well, they always like to keep things interesting. The geopolitical chess game was intense, with each move creating ripples that would be felt for decades. Fast forward through some messy history, we're talking treaties, occupations, you name it, and BAM! World War II ends. The world is celebrating, but Korea? Not so much. The end of the war was just the beginning of another chapter of turmoil. But instead of celebrating like the rest of the world, Korea's like, wait, we're free? Hold my kimchi, things are about to get weirder. The peninsula was split along the 38th parallel, creating two Koreas with very different futures. Remember those guys who wanted a piece of Korea? They swooped in faster than you can say DMZ. The United States and the Soviet Union both had their eyes on Korea, and neither was willing to back down. The North? That went to the Soviets, who installed a delightful young chap named Kim Il-sung, a man who loved communism more than a cat loves batting things off shelves. He quickly became the face of North Korea, setting the stage for decades of authoritarian rule. And so began our long, strange trip into the world of North Korea. From its early days of Soviet influence to its current status as one of the most secretive and isolated nations on Earth, North Korea's story is anything but simple. Buckle up because this ride is just getting started. Picture this, 1950, the Cold War is in full swing, tensions are high, and the world is divided into two camps, the capitalist West, led by the United States, and the communist East, led by the Soviet Union. And Korea's stuck in the middle, like that awkward friend at a party with two dates, unsure of which side to pick. North Korea, fueled by some serious communist Kool-Aid, decides to liberate the South. They believe it's their mission to unite the peninsula under their red banner, and by liberate I mean invade. Tanks roll across the 38th parallel, and the peaceful South is caught off guard, because, that's how they rolled. The United States, not one to back down from a good old-fashioned capitalist crusade, jumps in to help the South. They see this as a critical front in the battle against communism. The United Nations also steps in, forming a coalition of forces from various countries to support South Korea. China's all hold my Tsingtao beer and joins the North. They send waves of troops across the Yalu River determined to push back the UN forces. What follows is a 3-year slugfest that makes your average family Thanksgiving look like a picnic in the park. Trenches, brutal winters, and fierce battles define this conflict. Finally, in 1953, everyone's exhausted, out of kimchi, and decides to call it a draw. The armistice is signed, but no peace treaty, meaning technically, the war never officially ended. The result? A still divided Korea, a whole lot of bad blood, and the demilitarized zone, DMZ, the world's most heavily guarded strip of land that's somehow also a tourist destination. The DMZ stands as a stark reminder of the war's legacy. Irony, thy name is Korea. Today, tourists visit the DMZ, peering into the north from observation posts, a surreal experience in a place where tension still lingers. Enter Kim Il-sung, the eternal president of North Korea. And I do mean eternal, because even death couldn't stop this guy from being in charge. Kim Il-sung basically wrote the book on dictatorships, literally and figuratively. He penned his own political ideology called Juche, which, loosely translated, means self-reliance. Sounds reasonable enough, right? Well, in Kim's world, self-reliance meant cutting off ties with pretty much everyone, except for maybe China when they needed a cup of rice. He also had a bit of a thing for giant statues of himself, massive military parades, and blaming all of North Korea's problems on, you guessed it, everyone else. And let's not forget his delightful habit of throwing anyone who disagreed with him into prison camps. Fun times. Section 4, like father, like son, not quite, Kim Jong-il. In 1994, Kim Il-sung kicked the bucket, or achieved eternal life according to North Korean propaganda. Enter his son Kim Jong-il, aka the Dear Leader. Now Junior was a bit different from dear old dad. While Pops was all about military might, Kim Jong-il was more into platform shoes, leisure suits, and, allegedly, kidnapping South Korean actresses to make films that would make Ed Wood proud. Oh, and he also loved nukes. Under his rule, North Korea became the world's favorite nuclear-armed hermit kingdom, conducting missile tests and generally freaking everyone out. But hey, at least he kept things interesting, right? Right? Section 5, Supreme Leader with a side of Rocket Man, Kim Jong-un. Fast forward to 2011, and the Kim dynasty welcomes its newest member, Kim Jong-un, aka the Supreme Leader, aka the guy who looks like he's perpetually about to sneeze. You'd think after two Kims, North Korea would have run out of crazy, but you'd be wrong. Kim Jong-un, despite rocking a haircut that screams "I just discovered hair gel," proved to be even more unpredictable than his predecessors. He executed his uncle, awkward family dinners much, threatened to turn Seoul into a sea of fire, poetic but terrifying, and continued his family's proud tradition of testing missiles like they were going out of style. But hey, at least he seemed to be making friends with Dennis Rodman. So, there's that. Section 6. Escape from North Korea. True stories that are way more intense than any action movie. Life in North Korea isn't all sunshine and missile parades, folks. The reality is far grimmer than the carefully curated images of military might and national pride that the regime projects to the world. For the average citizen, it's more like constant surveillance, food shortages, and the lingering fear that you might say something slightly off color and end up in a labor camp. Imagine living in a place where every word you say, every move you make is being watched and judged. So it's no surprise that some people decide to risk it all and escape. The decision to flee is not made lightly. It's a desperate bid for freedom, often driven by the hope of a better life for themselves and their families. We're talking harrowing journeys across frozen rivers, daring escapes through China, and navigating treacherous terrains. These escapees face unimaginable dangers, from the threat of being caught and sent back to the perilous natural elements they must endure, and years spent hiding in the shadows. Many live in constant fear of being discovered, always looking over their shoulders, never truly feeling safe. These stories will break your heart, make you question humanity, and leave you in awe of the resilience and courage of these individuals. Their tales of struggle and survival are a testament to the human spirit's unyielding desire for freedom. And then, restore your faith in it, all in the span of about 5 minutes. Acts of kindness from strangers, humanitarian efforts, and the sheer joy of newfound freedom highlight the best of humanity. They're a stark reminder that behind the propaganda and the nuclear threats are real people just trying to survive. These are stories of hope, resilience, and the unbreakable human spirit, reminding us all of the power of freedom and the lengths people will go to achieve it. Section 7, North Korea. Now, still pretty weird, guys. So, where does North Korea stand in the world today? Well, they're still led by a dude with questionable hair choices and a fondness for weapons of mass destruction. They're still best buds with China and still on everyone else's watch list. And they're still, well, pretty damn weird. But hey, maybe there's hope. Maybe Kim Jong-un will finally realize that launching missiles isn't a sustainable economic policy. Maybe he'll ditch the nukes and embrace the power of K-pop. Or maybe, just maybe, he'll finally get that haircut sorted out. One can only hope. Until then, we'll be here, watching, waiting, and trying to make sense of the world's most fascinating and frustrating paradox, North Korea.